I go LS? Should I go with a small block? What should I do in 2026? I'm trying to help you figure that out right here. God is everything. Without God, I'm nothing. So depending on what you plan on doing with your old school or whatever, makes a big factor on what should you do. Now, what you should do is sit down, figure out what's important to you, and figure out how you can make that happen. I'm coming from a perspective of rebuilding a 350 specifically, but I'm pretty sure this probably translates to most small blocks probably. So let's start off like this, because if you're a small block Chevy guy, more than likely you're in between three options: small block Chevy, big block Chevy, right? Small block Chevy can range anywhere from a 305, which is one of the least popular options. You can go to a 350, 383, and then you go up to your 400 small blocks, and of course you got your 460s, 421s, etc., etc. Right? But it's common sense to know that the bigger the cubic inches go, the bigger the carburetor you need, the more fuel you're going to use. And if there's one thing you're not going to get with a small block Chevy, it's fuel economy. Now, while a lot of guys think that carburetors make engines not reliable, I mean, while I do agree to an extent, but not completely. If you're a guy that knows what you know a carburetor needs to be rebuilt whether they 30 over or whatever, they cost about the same amount. Piston rings cost about the same amount. Depending on what kind of, 383 you building, whether you're building with the 5.6, 5.7 rods or the 6-0 rods, rods are gonna cost about the same thing. So I got to say, they are right to an extent, but that machine work is definitely gonna go upside your head. You have the clearance for that stroker crank. You have to bore, and I mean, it's just extra work that has to be done. Now, years ago, machine work might not have been that expensive, and maybe that was the case, but in today's world, that's just not the case. So what I did was went and bought a fresh set of pistons and rods and put my 350 back together, and it has been flawless. I have absolutely no complaints. Runs fine, other than gas mileage. I gotta say, that gas mileage is something to talk about. The gas mileage on this truck is definitely something to talk about. Other than that, I would probably argue that my 350 performs about as good as any LS spot, 5.3, 5.7, maybe not a 6.0. It is a few more cubic inches, but I'm really curious to see how much faster LS, and I'm not talking about an LS and a Fox body or a T body, because of course they have weight on their side, but talking about a LS in a similar size truck in similar state, not one, this, that, and the third, got this done to it, that done to it, not one of those LS. But let me continue to say, I'm an advocate of building what you want. Building what you want to build. Whatever you want out of your build is what you should build. You shouldn't care what I have to say, what Power Nation has to say, what nobody else has to say about anything, because they don't have to ride around in it, they don't have to build it, they don't have to front the money for it, and especially if you already have a 350. I still think it's cheaper to just build that 350 like I did. Piston rod, crank, whatever, it's gonna do what it do. It's gonna do it. It's gonna do it. You hear me? So that's all I gotta say, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to another one, man. I just have to come on here and do these periodically, just for y'all, for the people who still be curious, man. I wonder, does he still feel the same way? Yes, I still feel the exact same way as I did when I put this 350 together. It performs 5-10 times better than I had ever guessed it would. And hey, I'm happy I did it. And if I had to do it over again, I 100% would do it. So take my opinion for what it is. An opinion. Anyway, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in to another one. PullsTv, gone.